Still to come, why Australia's census is worrying some people. And thousands flock to Edinburgh for the world's biggest arts festival.
It's too much. To the left, just a little bit to the left. Okay, it's great now. Thank you. Stand by, coming to in 1 minute.
Welcome back to TRT World. A reminder of our top stories. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is heading to St. Petersburg to meet with his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin. Their first meeting since Turkey's G20 summit in Antalya last year. The two countries have been at odds since Turkey downed a Russian jet in November for violating its airspace. A group of 50 Republican security officials say Donald Trump is unfit to lead. In an open letter, they said the Republican nominee would be the most reckless president in U.S. history. The group includes the former heads of the CIA, the NSA, and the Department of Homeland Security. Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has visited the hospital in Quetta, where a suicide bomber killed at least 70 people on Monday. The group linked to the Pakistani Taliban has claimed responsibility for the attack, which left more than 120 people injured. Daesh has also said it carried out the attack. Now, Australia's census is going online for the first time, but the leap towards digital is causing controversy. The national headcount helps the government plan where to spend its funds. It also tracks personal information, everything from gender identity to religious affiliation. Australians' names and addresses will now be kept for 4 years instead of 18 months. But some say that is too long, and they worry that names and other data could be hacked and question whether the increased efficiency outweighs their privacy concern. Let's get more on this. Katina Michael is from the Australian Privacy Foundation and is also Professor of Information Systems and Technology at the University of Wollongong. Joining me now live from Wollongong in Australia. Many thanks for joining us, Katina. You're one of those people who's actually raised concerns about the census. Why is that?
We've got a digital census that's actually recording the IP address of every citizen in Australia who fills out that form online. And more importantly, what we have at the moment is the admitted use of the name, the address, and the date of birth as a statistical linkage key, which means that people can be tracked with other federal databases, cross-matched over time.
Well, the government says people's information will be kept confidential. They've always managed to keep people's privacy protected. Do you not believe them?
No, I don't. I think statistical information and the census is there to actually help governments and corporations provision services to citizens and consumers. But what is actually happening here is that the data will be used in a different way for cross-matching, and in fact the ABS, under a Freedom of Information service that's just been alerted to us today, has admitted they will be selling this data in new products, possibly earning more than, millions, $41 million per year.
Do you recognize, though, the benefits of having a census and what it can do for policy?
Of course. I was working in a telecommunications company in the mid to late 90s and would rely on the basic data sets at the collection district level to understand how many homes passed there would be for various services such as cable television back then and ADSL. The problem today is we are not looking at dimensioning for neighborhoods, but we actually want to know the personal information of people residing in particular households. That includes things like ethnicity, religion, sexuality, and really that is putting people at risk, even people on safety concerns with domestic violence, if this data actually enters the Ethernet and gets beyond the government's hands and is hacked, for instance.
So how would you advise the government go forward on this?
Well, a lot of the senators in Australia are actually crying out, stop it. You know, delay the census until we have a proper debate over how the data will be used. A lot of people are saying they'll boycott the name and address file and risk facing a fine of $180 at the lower side, on the upper side up to $1,800 fines. But people are going to be voting with their feet, I think, on this occasion, and the data that will go back using the paper forms may be incomplete.
Okay, Katina, many thanks for your time. Katina Michael from the Australian Privacy Foundation, also a professor of IT at the University of Wollongong. It's been 2
Thank you,
years
ma'am.
since a
Thanks for
police
joining
officer in the
us.
US city of
Have
Ferguson,
a nice day.
Missouri, shot